Hello. Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be part of this activity and to be part of this conference. And first of all, I would like to welcome Dr. Nimi Mulwani. She is a fellow in diabetology, MD fellow, and postgraduate diploma in clinical endocrinology and diabetes. She is founder, consultant diabetologist, and is his expertise and special interest, especially in management and prevention of all types of type 1 and type 2 diabetes, and diabetes in elderly and in pregnancy, and COVID-induced hyperglycemia. And she is also interested in prevention of micro as well as macrovascular diabetic complications and personalized clinical care, diet and lifestyle modification to every patient.
That's okay.
So I would like to welcome Dr. Nimi, and please go ahead with topic.
Thank you, Dr. Falguni ma'am, for such introduction. Thank you. I thank Dr. Vipul and Dr. Dhruvi for giving us the opportunity to talk about important and practical topics. So today we start with the role of diabetes education in clinical setting. Just previously we saw that education is the key to treatment. De-escalation as well as escalation. So diabetes is a behavior-intensive disease. 90% of the management depends on the daily patient choices. We teach them, they go home, they forget, they come back, we increase the treatment. It's the loop that the patient is stuck in. So the medicines alone cannot ensure long-term control. What diabetes education does it bridges the gap between research and real-world practices. It empowers our patients, improves adherence and self-management, reduces complication and cost of treatment. Diabetes education is not an add-on. It's a treatment itself. Research has shown that lifestyle and education can reduce HbA1c and its complications. In real world, lack of knowledge means poor adherence comes to suboptimal outcome. So education acts as a bridge between clinical trial evidence and daily patient behavior. They don't remember what we advise, but they remember what we force on. So when we empower the patient on self-management, it gives the patient the skills to manage their conditions daily, including diet, exercise, and sugar monitoring. It encourages the patient to be an active participant, not just a passive recipient of the care that we want to give. It improves the health literacy, reducing dependency solely on the doctors. Diabetes education improves adherence and lifestyle modification when we reduce their myth, when we teach them to use the correct insulin pens, how to take oral medicines, how to use glucometers. The patient adopts sustainable life changes, which is healthy eating, regular exercise, and daily monitoring. Diabetes education also reduces complication and health cost because when we control the sugar, we reduce the risk of micro as well as macrovascular complication that leads to lower hospitalization rates, that leads to significant cost saving for families and healthcare system. Diabetes education also enhances the quality of life and psychological well-being. It's a disease that the patient is going to live with for the rest of their life. There is no word called diabetes reversal. We all agree and we all practice the same. So when we build confidence and motivation to handle the challenge of diabetes, it reduces the anxiety, guilt, and diabetes-related distress. When you involve the family support, it strengthens the coping mechanism. It is okay to fight a battle alone, but it is better to win a war with the family involved. So what are the evidences that suggest my statement? There is DCCT trial that showed that intensive education and self-monitoring significantly reduced complications like retinopathy by 76%, nephropathy by 54%, neuropathy by 60%. The key lesson of DCCT trial was patient engagement and education are as crucial as insulin therapy, especially in type 1 diabetic patient. UKPDS study, we still go back to the UKPDS study data. It showed that patient education and adherence adherence to intensive control strategies showed 25% risk reduction in microvascular and 12% risk reduction in any diabetes-related endpoint, which demonstrated that structured patient education sustains glycemic control in long term. These are the meta-analysis of diabetes self-management education that showed that average HbA1c reduction when a patient is educated and make informed choices, the average HbA1c reduction is 0.6 to 1.2%. ER visits are reduced by 30%, and the treatment satisfaction is significantly improved. Cost effectiveness, every 1,000 rupees spent on education can save up to 4,000 rupees in healthcare cost. Psychological and quality of life, it gives us better coping with stress and diabetes distress, increases the patient's confidence in self-care, and lower the rate of depression linked to chronic illness management. So how can we translate this evidence into our daily clinical practice? Personalized education. One shoe cannot fit all. So we need to tailor the education to individual context. We have to see how much literate our patient is, what are the regional food choices, what is their occupation and daily routine, age and comorbidities. A 30-year-old patient cannot have the same lifestyle as a 70-year-old. We have to use the patient's own data like glucose log, diet diaries, and their step counts. We have to use multidisciplinary approach. Gone are the days when there is one sole doctor sitting in the cabin writing prescriptions. Now we need a diabetes specialist, we need a diabetes educator, dietitian, nurse, and psychologist. It's a multidisciplinary team approach. We need to have a structured programs. We cannot say different things to different patients. We need to have group education session, brief OPD interventions, one-on-one counseling, digital platforms, and peer support model. Let the patient talk to another patient who is satisfied by your treatment can enhance their adherence. Ongoing support and reinforcement. Education is not a one-time event. It requires regular follow-up. Just like our medicine de-escalation, escalation, we need to do education in person or via telehealth. We have to use SMART goals. We have to be very specific. We cannot say walk daily. You have to say walk at least 30 minutes a day or 150 minutes cumulative a week. We have to give measurable goals. We have to teach them how to use their step tracker and glucose monitoring systems. It should be achievable with minimum problems caused in their lifestyle deviation. They should be relevant. It should be linked to health outcome and can be monitorable. And it has to be time bound. So we have to set goals every 3 months and review them every 3 months on every visit. We have to reinforce positive behavior change at every visit. So the core component of effective diabetes education starts with disease knowledge. The patient should know the type of diabetes, what is the progression and potential complication of their disease. We have to clarify misconception, especially diabetes is only sugar problem and forget about metabolic syndrome. We have to explain the importance of long-term control, not just symptomatic relief. Therapeutic target. We should explain the importance of HbA1c, blood pressure, lipid target. We have to set individualistic and realistic target for weight management. Medication adherence, correct timing, dosage of OADs, insulin techniques, site rotation, insulin storage. These are very vital, not trivial information that patients should go home with. Nutrition education, adherence to balanced diet, portion control. If that's a type 1 diabetic, then carb counting. We have to use local foods and plate methods that the patient can see at home and follow in a daily life. We have to address the cultural eating habits and festival diet, especially from August to January. Till January, we have all the festivals coming. So we have to address that also. We cannot set a target that is relevant in November as well as in April. The physical activity, individualized exercise plan, cumulatively 150 minutes per week of moderate activity, resistance training 2 to 3 times per week to avoid sarcopenia, self-monitoring, use of SMBG, CGM, when to test, how to record and interpret the value. The important use of CGM should be advised. Complication prevention, foot care, there should be a daily inspection of the foot, proper footwear, podiatry visit, no self-operation at home, especially of corns and calluses and broken toenails, which can lead to amputation at large. Eye care, annual fundus examination, annual UACR, creatinine examination, infection prevention, especially now vaccinations, and hygiene practice if the patient is on SGLT2 inhibitors. Hypoglycemia management, recognition of symptoms. We have to teach them the rule of 15 grams for 15 minutes and advice on prevention of hypoglycemic episodes. Psychosocial skills, stress management, mindfulness, counseling. To avoid diabetes burnout, we need to build the support system together to encourage goal setting. What are the barriers that we face? 3-level barrier. There is system level barrier. We have less consultation time, few trained diabetes educators, we have limited insurance coverage, and we have resource constraints. At provider level, we have more prescription-based focused approach. Patient comes, we see the sugar, we write the prescription, go. We have limited training in communication and motivation skills. There is burnout and workload pressure that we all deal with every day, fragmented care, lack of team-based approach. At patient level, what are the barriers? There is low literacy and numeracy, cultural beliefs, insulin is the last resort, that doctor suggested insulin, I change the doctor, herbal home remedies are better than and safer than medication alone, low motivation and competing priorities, family, work, finances, kids. Stigma, fear of being judged for having diabetes or even carrying insulin. Financial burden, the cost of test strips, CGM, and healthy food options are actually costlier than unhealthy food options. So what strategies we can implement? At system level, we can integrate education into routine OPD visits. My mentor used to say कि कीड़ी ने एक साथे लाडवो आपो ने तो कीड़ी चकदाई जाए. એને રોજ થોડું થોડું ખવડાવવું પડે. So you have to integrate 5 to 10 minutes of counseling during each consultation. Task shifting and team-based care. We have to train the people who work for us, who work with us as diabetes educators. Qualified diabetes educators, we have to be the policy advocates to include DSME in insurance coverage, incentivize the hospital who focus on diabetes education rather than treatment alone, and we have to have a resource development, standardized handouts, flip charts in local languages. At patient level, we can simplify the education using pictorial aids, teach back method, the patient repeats themselves when we say insulin kharab nathi, patient samethi bole insulin saru chhe. Use technology for reinforcement, WhatsApp groups, reminders, family involvement. We have to address their cultural beliefs. We link the education to patients' cultural food practice. We provide financial guidance. Paisa nathi apwana, but affordable dietary options apwana che. Instead of, let's say, mamra, they can get bajri, jawar ka mamra, millet mamra. So alternate food options we have to give. At provider level, we have to have good communication skill. We should redesign our workflow to allocate a portion of visit for education. We have to use digital tools and we have to combat the burnout that we face. So where do we go from here? Digital health integration. We have to have community outreach, group education programs. We need to include diabetic education in medical curriculum for doctors, nurses, and paramedics. We have to have data-driven customization and research into precision education, multidisciplinary expansion, and a stronger role of psychologists are undeniable. So the take-home, diabetes education is not optional, it's a treatment itself. The landmark trials have proven that education improves outcome. Effective education is multidimensional. Overcoming barriers requires system, patient, and provider level solutions. The future of diabetes education is digital, community-driven, outcome-based, and policy-supported, making it accessible, effective, and sustainable. And every patient we encounter is an opportunity to educate and empower them and educate us as well. So educating patient today prevents complication tomorrow. Thank you for patient listening.